Hello there, I am fiction author Scott Sigler, and welcome to this week's Page One Read, where I read the first page of a book so you can decide if that book is of interest to you. This week, it's a fantasy tale. Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings. It is book one of the Starlight Archive. Brandon is an incredibly successful #1 New York Times bestselling author. Met him a few times at cons. Really nice guy, really hardworking, and cranks out so much fiction he makes all other writers jealous, wishing they could write as much as he could. So, fantasy story, and you know it's fantasy because it opens up with a map of the fantasy world. Here we go with page one of Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings. Prelude to the Starlight Archive. Kalak rounded a rocky stone ridge and stumbled to a stop before the body of a dying thunderclast. The enormous stone beast lay on its side, rib-like protrusions from his chest broken and cracked. The monstrosity was vaguely skeletal in shape, with unnaturally long limbs that sprouted from granite shoulders. The eyes were deep red spots on the arrowhead face, as if created by a fire burning deep within the stone. They faded. Even after all these centuries, seeing a thunderclast up close made Kalak shiver. The beast's hand was as long as a man was tall. He'd been killed by hands like those before, and it hadn't been pleasant. Of course, dying rarely was. He rounded the creature, picking his way more carefully across the battlefield. The plain was a place of misshapen rock and stone, natural pillars rising around him, bodies littering the ground. Few plants lived here. The stone ridges and mounds bore numerous scars. Some were shattered, blasted out sections where surge blinders had fought. Less frequently, he passed cracked, oddly shaped hollows, where thunderclasts had ripped themselves free of the stone to join the fray. Many of the bodies around him were human, many were not. Blood mixed, red, orange, violet. Though none of the bodies around him stirred, an indistinct haze of sounds hung in the air. Moans of pain, cries of grief. They did not seem like the sounds of victory. Smoke curled from the occasional patches of growth or heaps of burning corpses. Even some sections of rock smoldered. The Dustbringers had done their work well. That is page one of Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings. If there's something you want to hear me read page one of, please put it in the comments. Tag a friend if they would like to hear page one of these books. It's pretty cool. I think I'm going to finish this book. That's it for this week's Page One Read.